everyone, it's Pat, and welcome back to Season 2 of Calm Sea Cooks, where we make our favorite recipes that are inspired by cruise ships. Now today, I'm going to make one of Kathy's absolute favorite things, which is pasta with meat sauce, and I'm going to take you with me as I start from the very beginning and go all the way through it, and you can watch just how easy this is to make at home. Okay, let's get going. All right, well, we need to get a pan, so I'm going to go here and I'm going to get my kind of largest non-stick pan. You see there, I kind of like that one. It has high edges. I think that's kind of important because we're going to make a fair amount today, so we need high edges to keep everything in there. We're going to use some ground beef and some pork sausage, just mild pork sausage. So I put my gloves on because I'm going to go in and get the raw meat, and it's it's always a good idea to wear gloves when you're doing things like that. You don't want to cross contaminate. So that's a pound of ground beef. I'm going to use about half of it. It's not important to measure. I'm just going to eyeball. That's about half of the ground beef. Now this is it's 2 links of the mild pork sausage, and I'm going to take it out of its case. You could just get the bulk pork sausage, which would have been easier, but you can just take it out of the case. It's kind of easier to get a quantity on how much you're using. There's like 5 of these links per pound, so this is about a little less than half a pound. Again, I just use my scissors to open up the casing and then just kind of peel it out of there. This is all in preparation because we need to brown our meat first before we really get going on creating or building the red sauce that will be the foundation for our pasta and meat sauce. This is the meat part. All right, done with gloves, so we'll get rid of those because I just don't need them anymore. And now this is a little trick you can do with ground meats, is I'm putting a little bit of hot water in there. The hot water will help break down the meat. Now I'm turning that to medium-high, and we'll go ahead and get this underway with the browning. Now you do have to break it up. Now that's where the water kind of helps break down some of the bonds with the fat and the meat that's in there. And we're gonna get rid of a lot of the fat and just liquid that's in here once it's browned, because we just don't need all of that fat in the sauce. We're going to keep some of it though, because it's a great way to use to kind of start your onions and your vegetables and other things that are going in here. So we're going to go ahead and just let that brown, and while that's browning, I am going to do my damnedest on this onion. I'm going to go ahead and chop this up, and it's going to be a chop. It's going to be kind of rough. It doesn't really have to be diced or anything unless you really don't like the texture of onions in a sauce. I don't mind at all, so I'm not going to get particularly fancy with this. This is just going to be kind of a rough chop. I do have kind of learned lately that I cut the little bit of end off there, but not too far. It helps so I don't get hairs, the onion little hairs on the board, which are hard to kind of clean out with that. And if you cut that off, it doesn't mean the onion's gonna like break apart, but it does allow you to not get those hairs on your cutting board, which you like. So we were just gonna set up for a chop, and I do a couple of midline cuts on the onion, and again, just rough chop, not a big deal. Now, how much onion you use is really up to you. That was a medium-sized onion. We'll end up using about a little more than half of it. But you can use less onion, more onion, whatever you like. I'm also going to go ahead and break down 2 cloves of garlic here. I kind of use 1 clove of garlic for each one of the quart size cans of tomato sauce that we're going to use. This could be completely made with whole tomatoes or really any tomato product you have. But I like using tomato sauce for that. It's just quicker and easier. And as long as you cook it for a couple hours, you're not going to get a real canned taste. This is my method. I'm sure there are better methods for getting rid of some of the fat in that pan. So we've left about a quarter of the fat in there, and we're going to go ahead and put our onions in there and get those going. Always going to start with your onions first because they take longer than the garlic does. Garlic only takes a couple seconds to do. Now I went ahead and salted the onions and the beef. That's the first time anything has seen salt so far. There's salt in the pork sausage, but we really need to salt this at this point to help the onions kind of break down or get softened. It helps the liquid come out of the onions with that open, and it just is a good way of getting things underway with that. So I've gone ahead and added the garlic, and that's after about 3-4 minutes of the onions going by themselves. Garlic's only going to take maybe 30 seconds by itself. I'm also going to add some of the rest of the spices. Now that was about 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. You can use whatever seasoning you like in this. I like the Italian seasoning that's, dried Italian seasoning. It's just, again, I'm looking at things that are easy to do, but pack a good punch of flavor. And that those Italian seasonings do. I put them in before I add the tomato sauce because I want the seasoning, the spices, to just have a little time on the heat to kind of bloom. You don't want to leave them on for too long because they will tend to burn, but you can put them on for a little while and you can get a little bit of just blooming and a little more fragrant spices. Now this is 2 cans of tomato sauce. They're kind of the medium-sized can. They're not the small can, and they're not a number 10 can. They're kind of that medium size, which is, I think, 33 ounces or something like that. So we put 2 of those in there, and we're going to give just kind of a stir. We're not quite done adding things to this yet, but we've started to build our red sauce. Now, I put a little bit of red wine into one of the cans because you can never get all the tomato sauce off. Now, I'm trying to deal with that lid. This is, don't do this at home. You either take the lid off or do something. It's like it's like winging a knife around when you do that. So don't do that. And just I put the wine in there and mix it around to try to get some of the tomato sauce off. And that's that's why you don't do that, because it's going to fall off and you can easily get cut by that. So be smarter than me and either take the lid off or just be a little more careful with that. But that putting the wine in the can helps you get all the tomato goodness out of the cans. All right, so we're going to give that a stir. Now we're nearly there. I have to taste it. Yes, I know I use my finger. It's my house. I can use whatever I want. It needed some salt, so we added salt. Now the tomato sauce is going to have salt in there, so you want to, I'm splashing. You want to be cognizant, and that's why you have to taste it to see how salty it is just with the tomato sauce. So it needed a little more salt. I'm putting in some bay leaves in there, just a couple of them. That'll help with the, again, flavor. It's just kind of the traditional flavoring of red tomato sauce for pasta. I'm also going to add one more thing, turning that down to simmer, because I don't want to get, number one, I don't want to get my stove all dirty, and I don't want it to, it doesn't need to cook that hard. I don't want to get all, I don't want to evaporate too much of the liquid. I want it to get a little bit tighter, but not super tight. So I'm going to give it another taste. Kathy yelled at me, so I'm going to use a spoon now. And we'll see, and we'll go, yeah, it's okay with salt, but it could use a little bit more. So this is gochujara. Now, gochujara has become my kind of new go-to mild red pepper flake kind of thing. It's not as spicy as a red pepper flake, but it has a nice floral arrangement or aroma and gives a little bit of spice. This is tarragon. I'm adding some tarragon because I like the taste of tarragon, and I happen to have a container, some spice, that tarragon spice, which I kind of got by accident, so dang it, I'm going to use it. So we'll stir that all in, and I'm pretty sure that is pretty much it for this sauce. Now, it needs to cook. It needs to simmer. I'm going to say for at least 2 hours, and it can, if you have longer, go ahead and do that, because that'll really help get the canned taste out of the tomato, which is really necessary. So we're going to have a little salad with this. So I got a little romaine that we're going to deal with. Now, I don't know when you're watching this, but when I'm watching, or when I'm doing this, there is an outbreak of some nastiness that can come on lettuce, so I'm going to be really careful about giving that a really good rinse to try to clean off anything that's on there. So I got it lined up. This is only for 2 people, so it's not a huge amount. If you're cooking for more people, you can make more. We made a lot of sauce. We're not going to use anywhere near that today. It's probably going to be good for 3 or 4 meals. So I'm going to kind of cut that little thick part out down at the bottom. It's completely up to you. You can cut it out or leave it. It doesn't really matter. And I'm just going to give it a little chop across, and I'll give it a chop down the other way just to kind of get it into proper bite-sized pieces of lettuce for your salad. I'm going to cut up that tomato that's sitting there because I got that at the market today, and it looked like a really nice tomato, and it also looked like it was really ripe. So I'm going to use it today before it gets too far. I'm using the salad spinner to get any of that extra moisture off the lettuce. Just a good idea. It just helps the dressing adhere a little better, and you just don't need all that sort of lettuce water floating around in there. All right, into the bowl, and you can see it's not a huge amount. I only made 2 servings. There's just no reason. There's only the 2 of us here right now. There's no reason to make huge amounts of that, and the salad, of course, isn't going to last for very long. So I'm kind of cutting out the core of the tomato. Yes, I should have used a smaller knife to do that, I know, but this knife is dirty, so I'm going to use it. And I'm just going to kind of chop that up into 8 pieces or whatever you feel like doing. There you go. Isn't that nice? Into the salad we go. All right, if you wanted to add anything else, it is, of course, your salad. You can do whatever you want with it. There are no rules with salad other than don't dress it too early, and don't try to eat it the next day. So we're going to make our own dressing, and it's really simple. This is what I would call a mayo-grette. So it's not a vinaigrette, and it's not a super mayonnaise-based dressing, but it does have, that's about, I don't know, almost a tablespoon, 2 teaspoons of Duke's mayonnaise, which is the best mayonnaise you can use. So we're going to do that. I got some olive oil I'm getting ready, and it's this just French's Dijon mustard. So I'm going to make kind of a mustard mayo-grette. I'm going to give that a squirt. How much mustard is that? I don't know. It's maybe a teaspoon, maybe a little bit more. Use as much mustard as you want. This is sherry vinegar, which I can't seem to get open, but there we go. And we're going to put just maybe a tablespoon, maybe a little less of that, because you need that little bit of tanginess and sort of sour bite. That's good with salad dressing, because remember, it's a mayo-grette. It's a combination of a vinaigrette and a mayonnaise base, so you do need to put some vinegar in there. I added some olive oil, and about 2 to 1, or whatever you mixed, however thick you want it to get. Just add the olive oil to get that. Salt and pepper, and that's it. That's all that dressing is. It took all of about a minute to make. Make sure my lid is closed because I don't want dressing flying all over the place, and I'm going to give it a shake, and that will cause the fat from the mayonnaise and the oil and the vinegar to kind of create a little bit of an emulsion along with the mustard, so you have a little bit of a thicker dressing. If you want the dressing thinner, add more olive oil. If you want it thicker, add a little bit more mayonnaise. Completely up to you. We'll give it a little taste just to make sure that we're in the neighborhood. And yeah, that's good enough. This making a salad dressing is about the easiest thing in the world to do. There you go. So now our pasta or our red sauce has been cooking. Now we got to get ready to do some pasta. So I'm not using a massively big pan because I just don't think you need it. The old days of using like 1.5 quarts or 2 quarts or whatever, a big huge quantity of water to cook your pasta, I just don't think it's required for modern pasta, the way it's dried pasta, the way it's made now. So I'm going to cook this in, oh dear, that is not enough water though. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more water in there to get that up to those little buttons. Little buttons, the rivets on the pan. That's good, right about there, that'll work. So we're going to go ahead and make that, get that going to a boil. It's at a boil, so you need to salt your water. It is essential you salt your water if you're cooking pasta. Otherwise, your pasta will have no flavor at all. What pasta should I use? Well, I have spaghetti. I also have some pappardelle. So let's use that. That's more appropriate for a red sauce than spaghetti. Spaghetti's usually for a much lighter sauce. So we're going to put in a couple of these little clumps. It kind of comes in clumps. It's like 4 clumps, which is each one of those I'm going to consider kind of a serving. You know, got some broken pieces I'll toss in there. This I think takes like 6 minutes or something like that. Look on the box. And we're just going to cook that. And you can see there's plenty of water. It just doesn't need to be a huge amount of water. Oops, spilled. I'm going to go ahead and stir that around just to kind of break up those clumps and just try to make sure nothing is sticking together too much. Set our timer for 6 minutes. There you go. And we have 6 minutes. All right, those 6 minutes have passed, and we're going to go ahead and drain our pasta. Now, if I were really doing this for like a dinner, other than just Kathy and I would have put the pasta in another bowl and integrated the sauce in a pan. But it's just the 2 of us, so I'm just going to do this and stick it a serving in our dish here, our bowl. It should be served in a bowl. Take a little ladle of sauce. You can use as much sauce as you want. It's completely up to you. This is just screaming for Parmesan cheese, so I will make it happen. Let it rain. There you go. Parmesan cheese as much as you like. Oh, there's a good artistic shot of it. It's like snow, isn't it? There you go. Onto the pasta, and we are good to go. Now it's time to dress our salad because we're just about to eat. So salad dressing gets opened. These containers are a little tricky to open without breaking the lid, and I don't want to do that. So there we go. Got it open. And onto the lettuce and tomato. Don't want to use too much. Don't use too much, Pat. Ooh, you might have overdressed that a little. Let's see. Nah, it's okay. It'll be all right. So there you go. You could put a little salt and pepper on there if you wanted to. Just helps with the flavor. Apparently, I didn't want to, so into the bowl it goes. And there is a serving of salad along with your pasta, your pappardelle pasta. All right, so that's meat sauce with pappardelle pasta, we decided, and let's give it a taste. Oh, this is going to make a mess because this is one you want to have your napkin on, but I'm doing this for you. Along with our just mustard vinaigrette, or actually it's a mayo-grette, since we put mayonnaise in there to give it a little body. Let's give that a try. It's very tart because of the vinegar we put in there. And that's something Kathy will like more than me, but it's good. And that's it. That's our meal that we made today. Again, I'm Pat from Calm Sea Cooks. Remember to subscribe and push that like button if you would. Remember our other channel. And please check out our sister channel, Calm Sea Cruise, where we do cruise videos and reviews of ships and itineraries. All right, we'll see you on the next one. Bye.